Welcome everyone to the OTC Club. We would like to thank you for joining us and thank you to our title sponsor, Jaws NFT Club, a luxury NFT that pays you in dividends of BTC quarterly and only 2,250 available coming soon. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to check out Fimi Token.
So let's get this thing started. For you guys who don't know, this is Wolf Financial. He has his own podcast. Uh, his real name is Gav Blacksburg, right, Gav?
Yeah, I usually go with a little softer with the Gav Blacksburg thing.
Right,
Yeah,
Gav. All right, go ahead, Gav, like agave. So I did it
there we
wrong.
go.
There you go. So Gav. So all right, you guys, go ahead and follow him. Follow your speakers and follow the OTC Club. Remember, this is not financial advice. Um, and what we say, not a, yeah. Anyway, first of all, Gab, the first question I have for you, so a lot of people in here don't know the story behind Gav. A lot of people don't know the story behind the Wolf Financial logo. So, first question I have for you is, who is Gav? Who is he? What is your background? What is your story?
Sure. So I am 23 years old. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. I went to college for finance. I graduated about a year ago with a bachelor's degree in finance. And during that time in college, though, I was pretty lucky. I was able to get some jobs that I learned a lot more at than I did in college. So I worked at Goldman Sachs for a little bit in private wealth management. And then I went into working at a private equity firm where I was staff doing portfolio management on a couple of companies that we owned. And then towards the end of college, maybe about 9 months out from the end, I was luckily able to, get in contact with a couple of friends who reached out to me about working on a startup, and we were able to create our own company. And that was kind of the origin story of Wolf, which has taken a lot of twists and turns since then. Now, at this point, we actually ended up doing a pretty major pivot, and they transitioned the original co-founders into B2B software sales, and I transitioned full time into building a financial media brand, and that is, Wolf Financial as you see it now, and this is what I do full time. My goal this year was about 30 hours of Spaces a week. I work directly with Twitter Spaces in their incubator program, in the Spark program, and I really am just like traveling this year and just trying to meet people in person and just build a lot of connections and see where it goes.
So why Twitter? How did you get here? I know you came in not too long before me,
Yeah,
but how? Why Twitter?
it's actually a great question. So the reason I downloaded a Twitter was actually I never used Twitter before college. I don't know, maybe even a little against it, but my freshman year roommate was just addicted to Twitter, and I saw this kid was always on Twitter. So I actually made a Twitter just to fuck with him. So I made a Twitter, followed him, turned on notifications, and then anytime he tweeted, I would immediately comment something like stupid right underneath. So that's why I started using Twitter. Then I started using it for sports after that. So I started just getting all my sports information from it pretty quickly. And then somehow I think I found Gannon Breslin, who you probably have seen on here. He does a lot of NFT stuff. And so Gannon was kind of like this crossover where he was tweeting out sports, but also finance. I was like, whoa, this is like pretty interesting. And then I started following like Ram Capital. I found Morning Brew on here. And then I kind of was at this point where I was like, okay, I'm sort of following people, but like my feed is like kind of sports. I was like, what if I just started? So Wolf didn't even have a Twitter account at this point. We had like some other socials. We had a TikTok and some others. It's like, what if I just started a Wolf account and basically just use that as a way to get my finance intake and only follow, finance accounts from that and crypto accounts and stuff like that. And that was the start of it. And for the first 6 months, it was just getting in people's comment sections, building relationships, putting in time and effort. And it took, I mean, I only had a couple hundred followers, 4 or 5 months in. And then it all kind of took off in March with a combination of both really Twitter Spaces was a big start to it, as well as I ran a big March Madness style bracket for stocks, ETFs, and crypto back in March. And that kind of really was the start of everything. And then once I saw Twitter Spaces, and I just saw like one or two of them. Something clicked in my mind, and I was like, this has to be the next big thing. It just has to. There is no way that this isn't. I felt like I was stumbling upon like Facebook ads in like their first like month where they were just so powerful, and I was like, I just need to find a way to get this. And I just started DMing people, actually cold DMing people who worked at Twitter to try to get access to Twitter Spaces. And eventually, I did. Somebody gave it to me, put me on a whitelist, and kind of the rest is history.
That's cool. I remember it was around, we kind of started around the same time, right, guys?
Yeah, we did actually. When we started, I did the same thing kind of that Wolf did. I started contacting the Twitter Spaces people that I would see live on Twitter Spaces, and then bam, like he said, we got on the what you call the pre-sale list. I don't know, the white list, whatever you want to call it, but we got on that list. So yeah, yeah. So a little background about us two is Wolf was like, I don't know. I feel like we're like brothers and sisters
Yeah.
on in spaces because we started
Like we
around the
grew
same
up, we
time.
all grew up together, like creating our like
Mhm.
spaces slash podcasts kind of thing.
And the thing is too with Wolf is that instead of, you would see okay, he's a finance space too. Whereas finance space, you would think we would be enemies, but no, we always. I honestly, I always looked at his pages. Remember, and he had like the nice lineup and things
Yeah.
like that. And I'm looking at his pages like, wow, that looks really neat and clean. It inspired us to really, you
Yeah.
know,
We were
have
like,
everything
we like
orderly.
his
Yeah.
organization.
Yes, we
Yeah.
said that. Well, so yeah, so you're the reason we got so organized too. So we just wanted to tell you that. But yeah, we did start around the same time.
Yeah. So bringing that up, right? So we have like with OTC Club and Wolf Financial, I feel like there's a lot of things that we ran into creating it. Like when you said March, like I always bring up that month too. Like I would say OTC Club came around March. What do you think has been the biggest obstacle in creating your brand Wolf Financial? And how do you balance trading, because you still trade, and your personal life?
Well, I don't really have a personal life, to be honest. It's pretty much just spaces. But luckily, that kind of feels like a personal life to me because I do enjoy it. So maybe there's a bit of like a crossover there. But yeah, I don't really like go out. Like actually, I'm staying. So Matt's in the audience right now at Trader's Paradise, and he'll be privy to this. I'm really good at holding up for like 14 hours a day in a room and just working. It's a specialty of mine. I don't really like drinking or going to bars or going out with people or spending money in general, to be honest. Not really my style. So luckily, that kind of takes care of some of it. And then, with trading and everything, I think it just made it a lot easier actually, because I'm on all these spaces with so many people that have so much more experience and knowledge than me. And I get to just kind of like pelt them with any questions I have. So rather than me having to go pick a stock, go and do an hour or two of due diligence, I cut that due diligence down by like, you know, 5, 6, 7 times as long as it would take me because I just could do it with the community in real time. So it actually ends up saving me a lot of time when it comes to trading.
Very cool. So are you saying that you're single?
Wait, wait, this is
Single as a Pringle, and I probably will be that way for a while.
All
Oh, he
right.
said single as a
So,
Pringle. That was so cute.
ladies, you guys heard that. Gab's single. Um, so if you guys want to date on the metaverse, he
He's
may
here. We
very
got.
well.
Do you have a
In the
Yeah.
metaverse,
Decentraland?
I could be down.
Um,
Wolf, Gav, you have a Decentraland or a sandbox or something like that you can meet these ladies at?
Uh, Not yet, but I'm sure one of y'all could walk me through it.
Of
yes.
course, we're here for
Wait.
that.
So you didn't answer what your biggest obstacle has been creating the brand, like
Oh
from since
yeah.
March.
Well, there were actually probably a decent amount of obstacles. One of the hardest parts was back in June, July. I actually got sick, like real sick for a month, and I could barely speak, and that was really
You
tough.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it was really tough because like my whole job revolved around speaking all day, and it really stressed me out. And I actually was like training like friends to like help me host spaces, and I had to cut down on stuff. So that was pretty tough for a month. There's also just been a lot of stuff with the brand. Like I said, originally this started out as a company account. It ended up, evolving and becoming more like my personal account. And that just had a lot of twists and turns from legal standpoints, from negotiation standpoints. So there was just a lot of back and forth there. But, everything that's happened has happened for a reason and has all seemed to line up at the end of the day. So at this point, like my life's been a little bit insane for the last 3 years. Just like crazy shit happens all the time. But I very much accept at this point that it all happens for a reason. So we'll just keep it rolling.
For sure, yeah. We can relate with that. Being sick and still having to do spaces because you dedicated all your time to this building this thing up, and you know, and just being consistent. Which is, I know that's key in this game, anyways. Being consistent, but so I can definitely relate to that, guy. I know earlier you talked about trading with friends basically on Twitter Spaces, and I just wanted to know what accounts influence you the most here. What are your favorite accounts to trade with, or who are your favorite accounts? Who do you take? Would you take a trade from, or who would you stay away from?
Well, I won't give the latter half of that, but my two favorite accounts I would say on Twitter are you may have heard of them, Christine Barnum and Stacky Robinson. I would say those are probably my two favorites.
Good answer. Good
And,
answer.
and then people that have really affected the way that I trade and invest. So to be honest, when I first started out, I really was leaning into. I actually really hadn't found like a lot of traders. Like I actually just was talking with a lot of fundamental analysis people, long-term investors. So I think, I met a good amount of them, and I still talk to them every day. Like a lot of them shaped what I do. I don't know if y'all seen them, like Decade Investor, Dividend Hero, Business Famous. There's a bunch of those kind of guys that really like Hipster Finance, Luke Dene, did shape a lot of my style. But nowadays, like you'll see me doing spaces all the time with people like Stock Talk Weekly, Danny Nas, Peter Tuchman, um, Brian Shannon, Jake Wujastik from TrendSpider. There's a couple of the guys like Sarge and some of the people from the street. A lot of people, this week alone, like if you look on my pinned tweet, I'm doing 18 spaces this week. I guess I'm already too deep. This is the second. And there's over 40 unique speakers on those spaces. So there's really just like a really wide array of different types of people. And to be honest, I think 100% of them are more experienced and knowledgeable than I am. And that's exactly the way I like it.
You know what? That's really good that you even admitted to that. A lot of people don't like to admit that they're not really experienced. They're not super experienced in certain areas, and to me, that's very good that you could even admit that. And you're learning from the people around you. That's what I always respected about you.
I appreciate that.
Wolf, so I know I just go back and forth from calling you Gav and Wolf, and it's just that's
Facts.
how it
Yeah,
is.
I like both. I started introducing myself in real life to people as Wolf. It's kind of a
Okay, cool.
complex at this point.
Yeah.
One
But
tattoo. One tattoo.
We'll
I
see.
know, right?
My mom would probably get a matching one with me.
Oh
Really?
my gosh, she really would. You remember his mom? We did a space with his
Yes.
mother. She's a great person.
Yeah, she probably would.
That's amazing. Wolf, so let's it's so crazy because it's so different to interview you because you're always interviewing everyone. So it's like I feel like this is important, and I want to know. I'm trying to think of like stuff that you ask people, and like we don't really get to hear from you. But I think a lot of our audience would like to know like what you trade. We know you do stocks, right? But what do you trade? Like, what's your strategy?
It's definitely been evolving. I think I went through stages where probably towards the end, or maybe around like October, November, where we were having still like a really big run up. I was just playing a lot of things, right? There was a pretty strong bull market. I was running into a bunch of different areas of growth. Whatever you were pulling, AMD, Nvidia, you could grab some of Tesla, AFRM, Coin. You could play SPY regularly. All those type of things were running. But then after, when we went into December or really kind of like November, December, when things started to pull back, I actually moved into trading a lot more options. So I do mostly trade options nowadays. I would say also exclusive. I didn't mention him before, but I'm a big exclusive fan. I definitely chat with him a lot and go back and forth. Um, on a daily basis, I would say I'm trading a lot of options, typically on growth stocks, but I found, even more luck trading them on stuff like Walmart and Ford, things along those lines lately. I My strategy revolves around first, I do watch a lot of the call flow every single day. I use multiple platforms and I track and just look for unusual options to come in. In addition to that, I do use TrendSpider and I will do a lot of charting on TrendSpider. I'll look for things like an anchored VWAP. I'll look for moving averages, volume ledges. I've recently started using Fibonacci sequences. I'm trying to just add more pieces to the puzzle to kind of create a more wholesome picture. I still do like to use some of the fundamentals to look for stocks that I can believe in and that I can, I don't want to just trade anything random typically. I understand there's plenty of people who can do it. It's just not necessarily my style. But overall, the biggest thing that I realized is like there's no need to place a trade every day. And I do try to take more calculated opportunities and options on those lines. And then I also will trade crypto here and there. I've been getting way more into crypto staking. We do have that crypto staking space this Thursday where we'll talk more about that and a little bit of dabbling in NFTs. So pretty much whatever it is, I just like to have some skin in the game. And I'm so early in this, investing career, only a few years in. Like I started at the beginning of college, and I feel like I have, decades to learn and experience and perfect the craft. So I'm not in a rush. I'm just trying to like intake information right now.
Mhm. I feel like you're a hell of a fundamental guy because you do a lot of research. I mean, not just on stocks itself, but like we said, NFTs and crypto and things like that. I've seen you live in spaces. Do your if you didn't know something, you quick to research it, and give your opinion on something. So
Yeah.
yeah, that that being said, what crypto and NFT projects have you seen that really caught your eye recently based
Well,
off of your DD?
yeah. So for crypto, the main ones that I mean, I'm still invested in and I've been in, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Bitcoin Cash. I have a little bit of SHIB. I've been in those for a while. And then outside of those, I'm currently staking Time Wonderland as well as WAGMI token. But those are definitely higher risk. More of what I've been leaning into recently is the Terra Luna, uh, ecosystem. And so I'm staking UST on Anchor Protocol for 19.5%, which is pretty nice. And then I also stake USDC right now for 9%. Oh, actually 10.5. I just got that up. Um, so those are kind of the main ones that I'm looking at, but I'm always open to new ideas within the staking ecosystem. If people can point me to things, ideally, I mean, and this is what everybody I'm sure is looking for, but ideally, if we can find, a decent upside with, minimized downside, which of course is the formula for everything, but like some people don't take that enough to heart. If we're being honest with ourselves, like some people really don't examine the downside; they just look at upside. So I really have been examining the downside risk lately because there's honestly a shit ton of upside everywhere in crypto. Like there's so much upside; it's the downside that'll get you. And then when you come to NFT projects, I've been doing weekly NFT spaces with projects that I believe in. So one project that I've been doing with every single week is the Wall Street Bulls. I really love the community. I'm involved with them. My bulls, that's the most that I've made off a project. I bought 3 bulls when they minted, and those are all up like, I don't know, 4x, maybe even more from where they minted. I also am excited for the unique unicorns. We're gonna have them coming out, and I like some of the projects that Ashley Decan has been doing, and then also just the blue chips. Like I went to the Board Ape Yacht Club party in Miami. That was really cool. Meeting a lot of them. Their floor is up 30 ETH from when I went to their
That's
party.
that's why you went to Miami.
I went to Miami for a whole month actually. I went for a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh,
The terrible Wi-Fi month.
yeah, seriously. So I went to the Board Ape Yacht Club party. I was able to see a lot of stuff about their project, Clearly Blue Chip, Mutant Ape Yacht Club. So I think that there's a lot of really good projects, that are maybe more affordable, like affordable is a strong word when it comes to NFTs, but there's, like you have the Doodles, you have some of these smaller projects that are more recently minting, you have your, Jacked Apes, and then you have those higher blue chip projects, which have really kind of skyrocketed away from being anywhere near affordable. And what I just look for, I just I try to look for a combination of things. Obviously, you want the utility in some form. It feels like utility is the way everything's moving, but you also want to have that natural community that has had more than a week to congeal and form, because that's what gives me comfort with holding something long term. I also like to look for projects where the founders have a track record of success building something. So with the Wall Street Bulls, before their founders built an NFT project, they built an account on Instagram and they built like a community of 400,000 people, and they maintained it daily for years. And that was to me a very strong thing to show, hey, these people have commitment. So I think the whole sector is still so early, but it's pretty exciting to be in a position where, I get dozens of DMs a week from NFT projects that want to either speak on my spaces, they want me to come be on one of their spaces, they want me to look into their project. I don't have time, unfortunately, for a lot of it. There's just only so many hours in the day, but I'm excited to, just continue to learn. And whenever somebody like catches my eye in the DMs, I always do try to respond at least and do a little bit of due diligence.
Wolf, so you went to school for finance and you started trading stocks. Um, can you explain to our retail traders that just trade stocks and are curious about crypto or NFTs, what made you diversify into that?
Well, I was also trading a bit of crypto pretty much right when I started trading stocks. At the same time, I was looking into them, so I never really got like ingrained in my ways, with stocks. It wasn't something that we were offering to clients. Like when I was working at Goldman, we definitely weren't talking crypto with our clients at all. That was not a time yet. But for me, I think I'm just super open to different areas of investment. For anybody who hasn't caught this, I don't really like put it out there all the time. But for me, Wolf stands for the world of learning finance. And finance is a really encompassing topic. It's not just, stocks, it's not just crypto, it's not just NFTs, it's not just the three of those things. I think it's, any way which you can better your life by making your money work for you. And I think, I've seen too many people that have resisted opportunity because maybe they were set in their ways, maybe they had a pride thing, maybe it just wasn't what they were used to. But that's not going to be me. Very open to new ideas, to listening to people, to highlighting other people. I've been, blessed with a lot of opportunities, and I don't want to, I want to make the most of them, and I want to like explore different areas. So for me to say, I'm not going to go into crypto, I'm not going to go into NFTs, I think that's just a little stupid if I did that, and I think I would just be missing out on a lot.
I agree. I'm glad, but I'm glad you joined over to the NFT and crypto side. It's so much fun having you over here. Christine dragged me over here, so it's fun when friends come along. You know. So another thing is I know that you're so busy, right? I know that you're so busy. Your week is so busy, and I know that you don't get sleep sometimes. I know the life. So I want to know what does the day in the life of Gav look like? What do you do from wake up to sundown? What do you do?
So I'll actually push back slightly on it. So people who are like around me know that I'm super anal about getting my sleep. Like that's part of why I don't go out. It's part of why I don't, like really drink or anything. It's because I want to get to sleep at a specific time. So I try to get 8 hours a night. And I've actually pretty much gotten that for a long time now, like 7 or 8 hours, because I just think your whole body revolves around sleep. I did a lot of reading on this a little bit back, and like some of the stuff that I was reading really convinced me. And also, I'm super, super big on like health and everything along those lines. And I think that it all comes back to sleep. So, with that being said, day in the life, first thing I do when I wake up is check my phone. I get on Twitter and I probably tweet good morning or some version of that. I respond to any comments from the night before. I check if there's any pressing notifications because when I used to like I used for years I had my ringer on, I had my vibrations on, all that stuff, so I'd always be checking it. And then probably around the time when I hit 20,000 followers, I just turned everything off. I just completely gave up. My phone would be sitting on my desk just like nonstop vibrating, and I just couldn't take it. It was like someone was always calling, but it literally wasn't. It was just like notifications. And so I shut that all off. So now in the morning I have to check, see if there's anything important. I usually maybe do, it depends like what my schedule's like, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of that, and then I pray. First thing I do is I pray, and I just like, low key beg God for anything that I need for that day, or for in a good situation, I think. And I kind of really, I've been praying now for maybe like 2 or 3 years straight every day. And I think a big part of that is I know it's the only time of the day that I'm probably going to be off electronics. Um, so that's an important thing to me. And then after that, it's just, oh, well, you know what? It depends. Like, honestly, a lot of people start their morning earlier than me. So what I do is I'll start trading off my phone typically, and I'll try to like do like a morning workout while I'm trading. So I usually will have like a computer up, and then like in between trades, I'll try to like pump out like some push-ups or something, like while I'm doing the morning, and then shower, make food, and then usually like by the time I got through all that, it's usually around like, if we're in EST, it's like 11:30 at that point, and then it's just spaces, Zoom calls, meetings, responding to DMs, all that shit until basically from around 11, 12 p.m. EST till around, no, like 11 a.m. to like, that's like 11 a.m. till pretty much like 11 p.m. I'll pretty much just do that for 12 hours straight. Like my mom, like you could tell, like when I was back, like right now I've been traveling for a while, but when I was at home, like I wouldn't even like stop to like eat and stuff. She'd be like knocking on the door, like trying to like hand me food like at the side of my Zoom calls and stuff. She'd be like, "You gotta like eat something." So I basically, yeah, for just like about 11 hours a day straight, I'll just like do like just work pretty much. Like that's every day, and that's been that way for about a year now, and I kind of really like it.
Standing shares and authorized shares and the restricted, unrestricted, and the news the company releasing. Other than that, do we need to know anything else about the company when we are looking at the fundamentals?
I mean, it depends how far down you want to go with fundamentals. When I first was learning fundamentals, I was taught that that means doing a full discounted cash flow, right? Like that's what I learned fundamentals as, was you're going to go and you're going to get, 5 years of data. You're going to project out 5 years of data. You're going to do research on every area of the company. You're going to look at, local and international operations. You're going to have a good understanding of what the governance of the company wants to do, what their tax rate could be on the company. Could they have things that affect that? So that's, you can go really far down the rabbit hole with fundamentals if you want to go next level with them.
Uh,
Or you could stick, a little bit more basic, and you could stay with, hey, like I want to understand what, the margins are. I want to see where cash flow is, profit. There's such a wide scale. It's hard to tell people like, here's all you need to know, because if you're willing to put in the work, you can do, there's full-time jobs, right? Financial analysts that just sit there and make these discounted cash flow models where they just get a great understanding of the company. So for a lot of investors nowadays, while it is very possible to do that, I think people feel like it's not possible because they want to have such a wide array of companies that they understand, and it's hard to do that for a lot of companies. So people kind of scale back and go with, some very basic fundamentals, which I think, you kind of laid out there. But yeah, it's, if you want to go down the rabbit hole, you can go onto YouTube and look up discounted cash flow models. And like, you can go all the way out. Like I've built out 15, Excel page discounted cash flow models before, when I wanted to really understand. Like I did one on Starbucks, where I just went all the way down the rabbit hole, and it was pretty good. I did that one like 2 years ago, and projected out for Starbucks as a buy, and the stock did great. I actually did it during coronavirus and had to project out like how their international operations were going to restructure, how they were going to move into more drive-through and pickup, a lot of things like that. Like to me, that's what real fundamental analysis is. I think people are more like skim milk uh, financial analysis nowadays. It's
uh,
a little bit lighter.
I don't know to understand. I don't think without normal persons, they can understand, other than the whoever did it in like finance or something like you. But sometimes like the companies do the filings like 8K 10K or something. I mean like if you wanted to look at the like the overview of the company and to make understand to come to the any estimation, do we need to look something like overview on that one like a 8K or 10K?
Yeah, I think those are great things to look at. The 10K, the 10Q, right? Look through those. There's certain sections in those which will be really helpful. For more, some people look towards different areas. Again, it is really case by case for what some people will look at, but having access to that information and utilizing it to make your decisions certainly can't hurt, right? The more information you have, the better picture you'll be able to build. From what I've just seen traditionally. So yeah, I would highly recommend at least taking a look through them if you're going to place. If you're looking at a stock and you're saying I'm going to buy this for years, right? You might as well put in, a couple of days of research. I think people nowadays do an hour, of research, and like that's just not really what fundamental analysis is, in my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Related.
That was amazing. Wolf, thank you for joining us and doing this interview. I know you're probably pooped. It's probably because you guys are on Eastern Standard Time. I always feel so
Well,
bad.
I'm actually
Over here,
this right now.
it's 7.
So I'm in CST, which is even worse
Oh,
because I'm all messed up now.
oh man. Yeah, over
What's
here
Central Time?
it's 7 p.m. where I'm at. So
Nine
What's CST?
CST is an hour behind DST.
Oh,
yeah.
that's not too bad.
Yeah, but no, it was really a pleasure. I've been obviously following and the OTC Club plus y'all. I think Christine, big shout out. She was actually the first verified account that ever followed me.
Yay.
Yeah, you had 10K followers, and I saw the check mark. I'm like, ooh, who followed me? And we started chatting. I probably had like, I don't know, maybe a couple thousand followers, and then stacking. And then y'all both came on my podcast, which was super cool. And so we've been doing a lot. So I really do appreciate you bringing me on tonight.
Yeah, and I know your schedule is so freaking crazy and busy, and we just loved having you on and flipping the table and interviewing you because I feel like it's important, to take that time and get to know you as well because you always do your best to get everyone and let everyone speak on your platform, and we appreciate it and we learn so much. You add so much value to the space, and we just want to say thank you. And of course, this space was being recorded. If you guys missed it, it will be on automatic playback right when we end this space. And then it will be on YouTube sometime around next week. And Wolf, do you have anything that you want to promote for this upcoming week as far as tickers before we go?
Not so far as tickers. A couple of things that are on my radar. I am just watching the energy sector as a whole. So if you go in, you can look at something like XLE, which is the overall, S&P 500 energy sector, and then you could just look at individual names in there. But basically, just you're like a minute on that. Right here, it's breaking above $64 per share, and that's bringing it back to right above the December 2019 part, right before it really fell off into the March lows. So it just broke back above those highs back in December 2019, which is great if you're looking at it from a technical perspective for where buyers might be looking to re-enter. And if you zoom way out about 8 years, there's actually an 8-year trend line that is being broken right here. So I like this. If this can on Monday break through 65, then I like for a continuation there. Would also be watching to see if money comes in. Things like XOM, which are Exxon, are that's one of the larger holdings within this. So I would keep an eye on that. And then outside of tickers, y'all can take a look at my pinned tweet. I put that out every single week. Again, I have 18 spaces this week with over 40 unique speakers. I spent like dozens of hours setting those up. I spent all weekend DMing with people. I mean, both the hosts up here can tell you I was DMing with both of them. Tons of other people, hundreds of people really, because a lot of people can't make it. Going back and forth, figuring out topics. So yeah, I mean, I don't even know on Tuesday when I'm gonna eat because I'm gonna be on Spaces for probably around 10 hours. So we'll have to figure out. I'm actually staying with Matt. I told him he's responsible for like feeding me
Okay.
But yeah, like I'm just very excited for it. Excited for this week. Really trying to grind to 50K followers right now, and just keep building some bigger things, and then also just putting in some work on this potential podcast that I and like finance brand I might be starting. So who knows? Things. Oh, and one other thing which I think y'all will like, since we're all big Twitter Spaces people. So this Thursday, so a friend of mine who works at Twitter Spaces, his name is Danny Singh. He's one of my closer connections there. He used to run the Twitter Spaces account. He does less of that now. Now he's like their lead person for research and feedback. So it took me like months and months and months, but I finally convinced him, and he's gonna come on Twitter Spaces with me on Thursday at
Amazing.
3:30 EST, and he's gonna do a live interview. Just give us what their vision is, what they've been working on, how their team's been expanding, analytics, and a little bit more.
Heck
That's
yeah.
dope.
Look at
They need
you.
to add more emojis.
Yeah.
Well,
Tell
There's
them
some
to
yeah,
put
we're
a thumbs
definitely
down one.
we're gonna be
Yeah,
talk we're
for
gonna be
real.
talking with him about all that stuff.
Add a
Awesome.
tomato.
That's Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday at 3:30 EST.
Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. We've been here for an hour and a half. Thank you so much, Wolf, for coming up here. We really appreciate you. Thank you, Matt, East Coast Matt, today for joining us up here, and thank you all, everybody who asked questions. Go ahead and follow all your hosts up here, and follow the speakers. Follow the OTC Club. Hit the reminder, and remember, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only.
All right,
Also,
guys. Love you.
also, this space was sponsored by Jaws NFT and Femi Marketplace. Go ahead and click those little links at top, and we will be in the next 10 minutes posting a giveaway. So go ahead and check it out. Make sure you put the reminders on for the OTC Club Spaces. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.